to talk about the February 3rd, that was yesterday, Saturday's by-election in Nigeria. So the Independent National Electoral Commission suspended ongoing rerun election in some constituency due to what it described as disruption, irregularities, and abduction of electoral officers. So the affected areas are Ikono in a federal constituency in Akwa Ibom State, suspension of election in 2 polling units, village hall, and a village hall in Mbaibom Ikotudo in Ikono local government area, where all election materials were carted away by hoodlums. Also, Enugu South 1 State constituency, the suspension of election in all 8 polling units where the original result sheets were not available for inspection by voters before the commencement of polls. Also in Koshi, Sandiawa State constituency in Kano State, suspension of election in all 10 polling units in Kochi local government area due to invasion, vandalization, and disruption by thugs. He stated, that is Olumekun, he stated that the decision of the Commission aligns with the provision of Section 24, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act 2022. So once again, we are having by-election, and the case of insecurity is still something we are discussing. Because when one thinks about by-elections, generally one would think that it's something that should be more contained. It should not be so wide, but then we are still having issues like this. Would you say that it's because INEC perhaps did not prepare enough for eventualities like this, or would we fault for these cases of insecurity?
I think this insecurity is becoming a hydra-headed issue. It's playing up in every of our, conversation. Now, this is an off-season election, so you expect that more resources, law enforcement resources will be available because there are scattered elections in constituencies and senatorial districts. So you do not expect that you will not have enough. And I don't want to believe that INEC did not prepare enough. But what you find out is that these bad elements are always ahead. Instead that they're always ahead of, and you see ballot snatching, adoption, electoral materials, destroy and all of that. But you cannot, what my is telling me is that you cannot divorce this from the politicians, the stakeholders, and because at times when you read some of the reports, you find that beneath it is the antics of the politicians. Maybe because areas where they think they are not winning, they sponsor people to go and disrupt election. They will sponsor talks to go and cut away, and for most of the law enforcement agents that are posted for electoral duties are not really going to bear arms. See them, they are batting in the polling units, and they expect that everybody will go there and vote. But I think with what we see in the general election, that should have helped them to better prepare. And even the officer election that we witnessed in some states recently, in Kogi State, in Imo State, and Bayelsa State, I think it was better police. So we expect that this one will even be more better organized, better protected, and all of that. So, but this is a very sad commentary that we're hearing, and it's not good for our electoral process.
Okay, but in general, apart from these places that have security issues, how would you rate the conduct of yesterday's by-election?
I tried to follow those ones in Lagos.
Virtual account.
I have to follow those ones.
Okay, please go on.
I have to follow those ones in Lagos, and in my state, in Ondo State, where I come from, our constituency, where we are trying to replace the Minister of Internal Affairs, who was our representative at the lower chamber of federal legislature, and it was peaceful. In Lagos, there was what we learned was that it's a low turnout. Out of 140 registered voters, only 11,900 and something came out to vote. That tells you the percentage difference. So, and the same thing in my own constituency where election was held yesterday in Ondo State, that there was low turnout of voters, but it was peaceful. It was, but in other places we've heard that it's not peaceful. Materials are carted away, adoption and electoral violence and all of that. That is not good. So the INEC, they have electoral and security committee, And I know they had meetings with the Air Force, meetings with the military, the police. We watch all of them in the television, how they have a stakeholder meeting, election security committee, they call it. And so we expect that they will be ahead of some of these things, but it has not turned out to be so. So they need to do more work.
Okay, and then what about in terms of technology? Because now the BVAS seems to be the next step for INEC,
Yes.
and then it seems as if there was no problem, at least as far as one could tell.
Yes.
So, but would you like to see some improvement in the technology that INEC would use? Because
Yes.
we still have some off-season elections that still would be conducted. So
Yes.
what's your take on the issue of technology?
I think there's a consensus on that the way to go is electronic voting, that you can vote from the comfort of your home. You can vote, online voting. So until we get there, so there'll be no job for the bad guys, because you can vote not on a designated day, like a week, like they do in other climes, that you can vote at your time, go to the post office at your time to vote, go to whatever place they made available, that you don't have a certain day when you close down the business, you block the roads, no movement, and all that encourages these bad elements. So, but if, for example, you have a week, this week is this constituency, wherever you are in the constituency, you can vote online, you see all the votes. So I think we have people that can do that, and I think we have the resources to do that, so that we take this job away from this bad guy, so that you don't have to concentrate one day and everybody must vote, everybody must go and queue. I think until we get there, maybe we will still be having this issue like this, until we are able to update our processes to be able to have this online voting, electronic voting, that not until you go to somewhere and congregate there and wait for ballot box to be brought and wait for electoral material, and people can vote on their phone and vote with their whatever resources they have, their laptops and all of that, and they can cast their vote and their vote will count. Why can't we have that? That has been done in other climes, so it's not a rocket science. It can be done here.
Okay, if we are to look at how election has always been taking place in Nigeria since modern day democracy, so to speak, Nigeria's election, there's always been complaint. Either it's be of manipulation, either it's be of some people complaining of being disenfranchised. There might be technical issues and all of that. So, and then for this election, we still had issues, especially when it comes to security issue of ballot box snatching, abduction of some INEC officials. Does this mean that we could not have peaceful, well-coordinated, 100% election in Nigeria?
Well, my answer to that is maybe when we get to make our politics to be for service. Right now, our Nigerian politics is for the highest bidder, and it seems to be the only high-paying job. So people don't go into that office because they want to render service. They are going to offices, political offices, to be empowered, to be reached, to drive the most luxurious vehicle, and call it operational vehicle. Because operational vehicle, they said they are going to buy operational vehicle, but at the end of the day, they are buying luxury vehicles. And so, until we, make political offices to be strictly for service, and people go in there, they know that they are going to render service to their citizens, not that they're going there to be enriched, to become wealthy, to become inaccessible even to the citizens, to the constituents that put them there. Until then, I think we continue to have this what we are looking at, because now people are so desperate to get to those offices. They pay a lot, they do a lot of things to get into those offices, because once they get there and it's there for 4 years, they know they are not coming back the same way. They are coming back empowered and reached and all of that. And so until we remove that from our politics, our elected offices, then we'll be continuing to have what we're having. Unfortunately, I pray it's not so.
But is it not sad that the people that would probably have passed this bill of electoral positions, these political offices, it's maybe cutting the salaries drastically. But the people who would pass that bill,
People that are
they
there now.
might not be.
So we are talking of something that is near impossible. But okay, if we borrow this democracy, because I've done a research before, I've written a position paper before, I said, and there's nowhere in Africa that democracy, no country, democracy has developed, no country in Africa. Okay, so you can look at it from South Africa to Rwanda to Ghana. Ghana was because of one man ruling dictatorship for 20 years, you know. So South Africa is apartheid that developed South Africa. So you can go. So is it Libya you are talking about? Is Muammar Gaddafi? You know. So everywhere that you have seen a semblance of development in Africa, it was not because of democracy. Because the cost of governance that we see from democracy. Imagine a poor economy like our own. We have 2 chambers of National Assembly, and each senator we are spending 160 million naira to buy operational vehicle for them, and after 4 years they will go with those vehicles. Another set of lawmakers will come. We are looking for how to make them comfortable to do their work. No, how's it going to be? And you know that Nigeria have been sheltered by cost of governance. Okay, and I remember that when this regime came, when this administration came, and there was you know, what budget, and part of the items lines of budget was 1.5 billion naira to buy operational vehicle for the first lady, which is not even a constitutional office. So there's so many things that we need to query, and so we are not talking, and we just think, oh, everything will be all right, everything will be all right. No, our economy cannot support the kind of governance or democracy that we practice in Nigeria. Let's be frank, let's be factual about it. So unless the people there are ready to reduce the cost of governance with the economy that we have, that people are finding it difficult to afford, you know, 3 square meters, it's going to be near impossible. I pray that Lord will help us.
Amen, definitely. Thank you so much for being with us on Firecrackers today.